on my browser again. All right, looks like we are live. Let me double check. I think we're live. And it's always a little funky when you go live.
We got that lag.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a lag. I believe we're live. Looks like we're live. Awesome. All right. Welcome everyone to day one of our virtual workshop with Keaton Walker. And if you don't know who Keaton is, I'm excited to bring him to the community. He's someone I've met over the years. He's participated and joined us in Dallas, I believe, a couple of times at our events. And just to give you some notes around Keaton, he had his own agency. He was, initially hired to help his family business, a local swim school in Utah with marketing, actually, and eventually he left the family business to open his own marketing agency servicing orthodontists all over the US and Canada. And Keaton and I have shared a lot of strategies and ideas in the dental space because that's one of the spaces that I was in as well with my own agency. But long story short, 4 years later, his marketing agency called Ortho Patients was acquired after helping over 140 orthodontists to grow their practice through innovative social media strategies and appointment booking process. Now, today, Keaton is part of the high level community, one of the top players in the space, very smart, and, essentially, in my mind, one of the wizards when it comes to the technology around high level. He's got a ton of cool things. And I asked Keaton, hey, what should we do? Let's do a workshop that's going to be very valuable. And we both landed on the idea of helping you high levelers, or maybe you don't even have a high level account just yet, but someone that's out there as a digital citizen, build a course, create a program around a launch around it, the memberships, the communities, all kinds of cool stuff we have for you. Keaton, welcome to the 3-day workshop that we put together here. Been a couple of weeks of planning. I'm so excited to get this ball rolling, man.
Yeah, Paulson, thanks so much for having me. I was working late, which I rarely do on Saturday, getting everything ready for this. So the snapshot would be perfect and the slides would be perfect. So we got some really, really cool stuff that I'm excited to share.
Awesome, man. So tell us your story. How did you turn into digital marketing space altogether? How did you start a business in it? I know the family stepping stone was one of the first,
Hmm.
stages of your career in digital marketing. Help us understand who Keaton Walker is.
Yeah. So as I was like figuring out Facebook ads back in 2018, 2019, all your ads start an agency. And I was just a young kid with a dream and decided, okay, I'm going to try this out. And I reached out to every kind of business under the sun. Reptile birthday companies was one of them, food trucks, any niche you could imagine. I sent an outreach message at some point. Um, and didn't end up working really. Got a couple like free trial clients. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to invest in some mentorship. And as soon as I did that, kind of that same weekend, I was talking to a buddy and his dad was a dentist. He said, hey, you should really go after the orthodontic market. Yeah, there's a good amount of money there. They have constant like patient turnover. And I was like, cool, I guess I'll try that. Reached out, ended up closing my first client kind of outside of my personal network and scaled that business, ended up finding a business partner that we were kind of running the same company in the same niche, teamed up, grew that, as you mentioned, to working over 140 with 140 orthodontists, found HighLevel, used HighLevel to its maximum extent as far as helping us book those appointments on behalf of the orthodontist. So it wasn't just ads. We turned it into kind of a call center plus ads offer, which sold really well. And then there was another bigger player in the space that ended up finding us and wanting to acquire some of the processes that we built and the team we built around the follow up and appointment setting side. So a year ago, actually about 13 months ago now, we ended up selling and decided I would package my knowledge that I had gained, in the trenches as an agency owner, just immediately after as fast as I could. And so I spent a couple months building out a very comprehensive course on starting and growing an agency. And that was called Agency Dominance. Been working on that and selling that for the last year or so. And then recently, I've pivoted to another coaching model, which we'll talk about in this workshop that I'm really, really excited about, that I like even more than just simply selling a course. And of course, HighLevel is the perfect backbone for this. And that's what we're talking about today.
Awesome. So, those of you that are watching, we just started just a few minutes ago on day one of the workshop, which is basically around creating a course and launching a course and building a community around it. How many of you are from the US or maybe international? Tell me what city or state you're checking in from. If you look at the Zoom chat, there is a link there that's going to allow you to go to our main Facebook page, which is where we want you to comment, add your questions, give us feedback, replies, and all of that. So I would love everyone to click on that link inside the Zoom chat for Facebook and go to our Facebook page and interact with us there. Let me go ahead and pull up my browser here and go right into High Level's Facebook page here. All right. I see somebody from Ireland. We've got Cape Coral, Florida, UK, Utah. So, yeah, tell us what city and state you're checking in from. And one of the crazy things that I've always noticed about these workshops and live events, I mean, virtual events, is people network and connect from these events. So, we hear about pop-up lunch groups, dinners, and happy hours, and weekend meetups, and all kinds of stuff. And inside High Level, one thing I know is it's a collaborative community, and you can chat with someone that's well ahead of you or on the same chapter as you to kind of move the needle forward. And I recommend you connecting. So put down the city, state you're checking in from. And the other thing that I want you to start answering or just interacting with us in general is around course building. How many of you are, give me a yes in the chat if you are genuinely interested in creating a digital course. Maybe it's a course that's a freebie. Maybe it's not, maybe it's a high ticket course. I don't know, but maybe it's more interested in the communities and building a group around the course. But either way, how many of you are interested in this topic? And Keaton, help us understand, what are your thoughts on high levels features around courses, communities, these groups? Like, give us an overall run around how high level kind of matters in the space for you specifically. You've had plenty of
Yeah.
choices on this.
Yeah. So if anybody's seen my YouTube channel, I've just been one of my goals this year is to compare HighLevel to absolutely every other software that could possibly be compared to, whether that's course creation or another CRM, or an email marketing platform, right? And the beauty around HighLevel, every single time I compare it, is the no-brainer price for the amount of features that you get in an all-in-one place. So um, with another like typical course builder, you're going to have a course, you're going to maybe have some community features, and you're going to have to send all of those leads and everybody that you're trying to add to your course or your community to an email marketing software over here and maybe a text messaging software over here. And the beauty of HighLevel is not only do we just get a massive update to communities that looks so cool, and you can put your own domain on it, which is super slick. I don't see anybody else offering that. And the amazing course builder that's been around for years now that looks very good. But you get the email marketing software, you get the text software, and you get the ability to automate DMs and emails and all that kind of thing, so that your life is just, you're spending less time on the tech headaches and more time actually serving your students, which is how it should be.
I love that. So, Keaton, as we get started, what's day one going to be like? Let's get started into the actual strategy content, the
Yeah,
technology. Like, let's get the ball rolling on, getting right into what we're going to teach.
love it. Yeah. So should I share these slides now or just give you a
Yeah.
preview?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, let's go ahead and
I'll
go
pull
right
up
into
the
the
slides.
content and get started with day one content essentially. Let me go ahead and
Love
make
it.
sure let me go to make you a co-host. That way you can share your screen, I
Love
believe.
it.
Okay, there it is. Okay, awesome.
So first of all, before we hop into this, I just want to say everybody that's here, like imposter syndrome can feel really real, and maybe you don't think you have what it takes to launch a course or launch a community. But the strategies we're going to go over today, I've tried to make as simple as possible and as quick start as possible to keep you out of your head and into actually taking action, so that what needs to get done gets done and you get the momentum you need to start believing and, more importantly, getting sales. So today, the three main things we're going to be talking about are creating an easy yes offer. So this is something that somebody looks at and they're like, yeah, of course, that's a no brainer. I'm going to do that. So we'll go through an exercise, and I invite all of you to pull up a Google Doc, or maybe if you have a physical notebook, and I'm going to have action items on the individual slides. It says, hey, write this out. Here's what you need to do. And by the end of it, we'll have a fully functioning offer that you could go to market with by the end of today's workshop, which is really exciting. We're going to talk about pricing strategy and choosing your model. So we'll go over the three main models out there. One of which I alluded to is the offer structure I've recently pivoted to that I like, and I'll be recommending for most of you here today. And then lastly, we're going to talk about launching. As I said, we want to get right into the action. And so we're going to go over the first email that we need to write to launch to our list. And if you don't have an email list, you can launch this inside of your socials. You can launch it anywhere else. But the actual snapshot that we have today, that you'll be able to get, I believe, if you sign up for HighLevel or if you upgrade, that's going to allow you to launch literally by the end of today your coaching program or your course.
Yeah, and basically, if you sign up, you'll get the snapshot, which basically is this ultimate snapshot that we're going to cover the entire 3 days. So sign up for a trial in case if you don't have HighLevel and you're kind of on the fence trying to figure that out. And then if you already have HighLevel, you want to upgrade to the next highest plan. And in case if you're already on the highest plan, stay put. We'll have something for you towards the end of the workshop. But regardless, we'll have something for you. Keep going.
Cool. And that's in the chat, right? That
Yeah,
link.
yeah. I think Ethan, if you don't mind, let me actually I'll go ahead and repost in the chat. We
Love
have
it.
the offer link there. Thank you, Ethan. He had posted it earlier.
Great.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. So let's get into it. When it comes to coaching and consulting, this is my most important mantra. We have to sell the vacation, not the journey. Let's say Paulson here, he really wants to go to Bora Bora with his wife. If I'm the travel agent, or even if I'm the airline, I'm going to be selling reading a book on the beach, not sitting next to, five people you don't know on a plane that's uncomfortable and it's too cold or it's too hot and everything's too cramped. That's not what we want to be talking about. We want to be talking about the end result that this person wants. And that doesn't mean that there's not going to be uncomfortable things along the way that we can be upfront about. But we need to come up with a clear end result that this person can achieve. And you'll be surprised how many people can articulate this about their coaching offer or about their agency offer even. And the reason that it is so crucial is because we don't need to tell every single aspect of how we're going to get someone somewhere. We just need them to understand that we can get them to the place that they need to go and that we understand what that place is. Because if we don't understand it, how are we going to be able to lead someone to that? So the first step in doing this, here's your first action item. We're going to come up with what I call a power paragraph. So this is a concise paragraph painting a very clear picture of the ideal outcome your offer recipient will have after you implement it with them. So my example here for my community is, Keaton, I want your help getting my offer to fill up my bank account or removing the complexity I currently feel. My goal is an online agency or consultancy that attracts ideal clients to me, nets me $200,000 a year or more, and requires just 4 hours of me per day. So is every single person I work with going to achieve absolutely everything in this paragraph? No. But is this the vacation that I can show them, hey, this is possible. I've achieved it. I've helped other people achieve it. And even if you achieved maybe 50 to 70% of this, they would be really happy with it. So don't get too in your head about, oh, not every single person is going to get this. It really depends on their actions. Of course it does, but they want to see that you're leading them to a place that they can't see themselves. So I invite all of you guys to write down this action item and feel free to use my example. Write down your name or the name of your business and say, I want your help getting X result. And this is my goal. And when you're talking about the goal, it's not just maybe some of you are selling more money, so to speak, or selling a business, help with their business or some sort of business implementation thing. So some of you may be selling like better relationships, better health, better maybe like emotional healing, things like that. Um, when you're talking about any offer, there's three things that you can really pull on in terms of what somebody needs to implement to get it done. And that's time, money, and energy. So in this case, I've got money. Hey, you can take home $200,000 a year or more. And I've got time and energy when I say it's going to take just 4 hours of you per day if you set everything up correctly. So you'll find a lot of coaches or just kind of the messages that don't really land with people are just, hey, you can make more money, or hey, you can achieve X result with your health or your relationship. But as soon as you say that, people are making up excuses as to why it's not going to work for them. Or, this probably comes with a long list of to-dos that won't be able to do, or I can't figure out. And so that's when you put in the time and the energy piece, and you show them ideally how little it will be required of them to get that done at the end of the day, because of the fact that they're working with you. So harping only on the result without saying what it's coming without, which is a ton of time and a ton of energy, can really harm the perception of this offer at the end of the day. You need to state it super clearly so that you understand what you're selling, and therefore you can articulate it correctly to people and they hear it and they go, wow, that's exactly what I want.
Ian, can I ask you a couple of questions as we just kind of get started? So, like,
Please.
what I think is crazy is like, I think there's a ton of people in here that's like, okay, I want to coach or create some kind of an education program in general. And I
Mm-hmm.
promise you, Keaton, mostly everybody's first module is what you just described to their students. Like, hey, get the affirmations going. You got to wake up a certain way. You got to think a certain way. You got to
Mm-hmm.
kind of prime yourself. But like, why is this so hard for us to do this as the creators of these courses? Like,
Yeah.
our first lesson is what you just described, but when you're telling us to do this, it's like, man, I don't have this. I don't know. It's crazy to me. What do you
So
feel
true.
about that?
Yeah. Common sense isn't common practice is my favorite quote here, like when we're talking to other people, it's so easy to coach them. I had a roommate in college that came up with this mantra, and it was lead yourself. So like kind of step outside yourself and say, hey, if I were coaching myself, or if I were the leader in this situation, what would I tell my best friend to do, or what would I tell my student or client to do? Um, and that stuck with me this whole time, uh, because it really is so true. Like the answers are staring us right in the face. It's just a matter of applying them to ourselves and getting out of our own way.
I love it. I love it. So I don't want to stop you. Keep going. Keep going. I'm
Cool.
I'm getting excited as you just kind of laid the foundation here.
Great. So next we're talking about this bus here. If anyone's ever been on a hop on, hop off bus, or maybe one of those, like you've been to a national park and they have those big tour buses, right? Have you ever felt the difference between a tour guide that you can tell really wants to be there? They're funny, they're excited, they know everything about the place, and the person that's just kind of like there doing their job. Uh, it makes all the difference when you've got a really, really good tour guide, right? And all the difference when it's not just maybe one of those automated voices telling you everything and someone who can say, here's this. And by the way, I was talking to somebody and they said they're from this state. And there's this interesting piece of history that we can connect between this state and the national park we're at here. That kind of stuff is super powerful. And so the next step in building our offer after we have that power paragraph is becoming this person with the plan and demonstrating just like a really, really good tour guide that we know where we're going. So the way we do that is writing out a 2 to 4 step plan usually to help you get your clients where they want to go. And I really, really want to challenge you to limit this to 2 to 4 steps because as we mentioned before, it's not about listing absolutely everything that you can do or that you will do. It's about listing the key things that somebody, 99% of your market needs help with. That 1%, we can deal with that through some DMs or a call or some emailing back and forth, right? But 99% of people are going to need help with steps 1, 2, 3, usually inside of your niche. And so once you list those out, they're going to feel, wow, he really understood me or she really understood me in this first paragraph. Second, oh, wow, they really know where we're going. Like they understand this and they've been there multiple times and they know pretty much everything there is to know about it. So, quick example here. This is what my offer looks like here.
I was just about to ask if you have an
Yeah,
example.
there you go. So
Nice.
my community is called the Dominators Guild. I mentioned my course previously was called Agency Dominance, and so I leaned into that frame. And the guild is just kind of a fun like community name. And so I say the Dominators Guild is a mastermind where I work closely with each member to help them build a profitable business machine, just like the one I described above. We implement the Dominators Blueprint, my system that consists of 3 core pillars to create your ideal business. Inside the guild, you have my direct input in installing or redesigning them. And then I go into what they are. So, number one, my easy yes offer. That's what we're talking about today. Closing clients is easy when I create something that makes people say, I can't believe how good this is. Doing this, I'll be able to set my prices, terms, sell prices, terms, sell without selling, and stack recurring revenue. Secondly, my customer attraction engine. Scaling to 200K take home and beyond is easy when I have hundreds or thousands of people seeing my offer every day without me having to manually grind to get those eyeballs. And then third, my minimalist management system. Running a business is fun when I make the right hires and put the right client delivery systems in place. When done right, managing this takes me only 1 hour per day and frees me up to focus on what I really love doing. After learning the key components of each of these, we'll spend the following months watching their impact on your business, taking care of any problems that arise along the way, and implementing other frameworks I have that are relevant to your business and goals. So do you feel how powerful it is when we say, hey, here's the vacation. We're going to Bora Bora. And then you give them the highlights along the way. You don't talk about the specifics of the plane or the, type of car they're going to be getting an Uber in after they land in the airport. You just talk about, hey, we're going to go here, then we'll go here. And then once we're here, next step is here. And again, like that tour guide that you can put your full trust in, when you understand that they've been on this journey a lot of times before, they're so much more enjoyable to listen to and you trust them in the process. So not only are we selling more with this, we're getting people to stick around longer and get better results with our coaching because they trust us based on the demonstration of competence that we've just showed by writing this out. Any thoughts there, Paulson?
Well, I mean, here's what I'm understanding so far. What you're describing is when you have an educational program, you need to have a character, right? That is almost like a tour guide that's going to guide people to a North Star, a desirable North Star that everybody's on the page for, right? And then instead of just, throwing up a bunch of details about all the, nitty-gritty tactics and steps, you need to essentially highlight milestones, maybe, if that's the right word,
Yeah,
to enhance the offer presentation. That's what I'm understanding so far.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, awesome. How many of you already have something like that in place? I'm just kind of curious, Well, let's do this. Let's do a quick temperature check. What industries are y'all in general, if you're watching this workshop where you might be interested in building out an educational program of some kind, either through a course, community, what industries are y'all in? Let me just kind of get a temperature check. And then what are some of the offers? What are your easy yes offers that you feel pretty good about? Let me just see if there's any comments that are coming in. Let me just see real quick. Yeah. Someone says online product design, hypnosis,
Cool.
healing past trauma, sales and marketing, business coaching. Okay, we've got a variety of functional medicine. Yeah. Firearm safety training, life coach and leadership, coaching and wellness, neuroscience, marriage coaching, media coaching. Okay, we've got a ton of interesting topics that people are excited about, and they've got a game plan. Now,
Yeah, that's
I'm
amazing.
curious. Yeah, there's a variety of people in this room, I believe. And then, so what are some off easy yeses? It seems too easy to sound like it seems so good to be true. What makes something so easy to just jump into? Because I feel like that's the biggest mistake where people make is they perceive their offer to be obvious or they
Yeah.
perceive their offer to be elite, right? These are
Yeah.
misconceptions most coaches have in general. Can you help us understand how to iron out a solid offer that is an easy yes?
Yeah. So the first two steps are what we've talked about now. Most people say I help with X transformation, but they don't actually give like real details to that. And here's a little nugget for everyone. Smaller promises are more believable, easier to keep, and will get you better clients. So notice I don't say 1 million a year take home. I say 200K, which to the person I'm targeting is not necessarily a massive jump, but it's a jump they would like to make, right? Maybe they're doing more than that in their business, but they're taking home less and they want to know, how do I take home less? And they also want to know, how do I do it with less hours in the day? So for the marriage coaching example, um, hours isn't necessarily the thing that they need to focus on, but saying, what is it that we're going to achieve? What's the real thing that people want in their marriage? And what are we going to achieve it without? You're going to have a relationship that's amazing. You feel safe with your partner, and you go on awesome date nights every single week, giving them a real tangible thing that they're going to do. And we're going to do it without XYZ. I can't think of a great example off the top of my head for that one, but whoever it is, likely you know what people don't want to do or what most people are asking them to do. So how can you put that without in there? And then the next thing, Paulson, actually, it's a great question. How do we make this an easy yes? Has a lot to do with the pricing and the modeling, which we're going to talk about next.
All right, let's keep going.
So when it comes to pricing and modeling, we've really got 6 deliverables that we can give as a coach or consultant. We can give a course, so that might include templates or resources or videos. We can give group support, so this would be community. Uh, so that's sort of 2 in 1, because we're going to be providing the support as the coach, or maybe our team will, but also they get the added benefit of, oh, these other people are on the same journey as me. And that's the community aspect there. We've got group calls, which gives you leverage above one-on-one calls, which is the next one. So instead of getting on one-on-one calls all the time, we can do small group calls of 5 to 10, or even really big group calls where we workshop, kind of like we're doing today. And then we've also got one-on-one support, meaning they can email us or maybe text us for help with their specific situation. A lot of people maybe provide this in Slack in the business world. And then lastly, accountability. So this would be like, hey, you join our program, we're going to have people following up with you every week, asking for your numbers, asking for, how your date night went that week. And that's a really cool deliverable that you can add if it makes sense for your particular niche.
Yeah. Now, before you go into the
Yeah.
delivery side, Keaton, can you help us understand your strategic philosophy? Do you like building a program on net new, like someone that's absolutely brand new, beginner of a
Mhm.
student to the industry that you're coaching? Or would you rather go after or focus on someone that's a lot more advanced? What are your thoughts in general? Like, you know,
Yeah. So the thing about the being a coach is that so much of it depends on you because you're the deliverable at the end of the day. Access to you is what people are paying for. And even if you have other coaches or you build some big coaching organization, if you're the face of that brand, people want a little bit of access to you. Um, and so when you when you think about it, being a coach is a lot about managing your own energy so that you can show up properly for clients. And for me, that doesn't mean, oh, I don't work with beginners or I don't work with people who are too advanced or I want to work with somebody in this particular, stage. I actually value the variety, but I really want somebody that's going to take action and is going to apply. And so that's how I've set up my model. And that's who I speak to is someone who wants to go through the change and is going to get a great result. It doesn't matter if they're, only doing $1,000 or $2,000 a month in their agency right now. Let's say that's what I'm helping them with. If they've got the mindset of someone who can do 40 to 50K a month, then I'm really excited about helping them through that process. Now, if somebody's doing 40 to 50K a month and they have the mindset that they don't want to change and they don't want to apply anything, it doesn't matter how much they pay me. It doesn't matter how many calls I get on with them. They're not going to get the result that they want. And that's kind of how I think about it. How can I put out content and put out marketing that attracts people that are excited to change versus just being in a particular maybe demographic that we would call it?
got it. Got it. So wait a minute. Wait a minute. So what you're telling me is, as a coach, I want to put together an online course where it's all
Mm-hmm.
digitalized, but my students want it to be a consultative approach where I have to spend all these hours, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like the total opposite of perception of what I'm actually having to deliver versus what they're purchasing. That's what I'm hearing. So, and this is where I've seen a lot of coaching programs fail is on
Mm.
this difference, right? Is
Yes.
the coach is perceiving as if, okay, let me create an online course. They can log in, they have a community. Maybe I'll hire a bunch of coaching staff that takes on my philosophy and teaches, and I don't want to be in it. Like, how many of y'all have bought a program respectfully, and then within a week you have never seen the coach after that? Like, like that's not the
Yeah.
experience most people want. But why is it that way? Like, I mean, why do coaches want to be away in a sense or distant in
Mm-hmm.
the fulfillment versus actually just building like a consulting program? Like, why not do consulting if you're gonna have to spend that many hours for a coaching? Like, what's
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I think everybody wants leverage at the end of the day, right? And that's why I'm really excited about the third kind of hybridized model, which sort of combines those two approaches that we'll talk about today. But um, I think what people don't realize is that coaching is very commoditized unless you become the person. What I mean by commoditized is like if you're going to go buy a banana, which is a commodity, you're just going to find the cheapest one, right? Because there's two kinds of bananas. There's regular bananas and there's organic bananas. And let's say you value the organic, you're going to find the organic, but if, XYZ store has the cheaper ones, you're likely going to go there. Um, because they probably have the same supplier, et cetera. So coaching kind of feels like that sometimes, where it's just this race to the bottom in terms of price, who's willing to offer the most help for the least amount. But what you can do and why people really invest in coaching is they've seen your transformation or the transformations that you've helped with, and they want access to the person who's done that. And that's the farthest thing from a commodity because nobody can beat you at being you. You're literally the only person that is you on the earth. And so if you can build your offer around that in a way that's leveraged enough to give enough people enough access to you, where you're not completely burned out doing one-on-one calls every single day, then it's this really powerful combo where the marketing's super compelling because they get to talk directly to you, but you're also very fulfilled if you're anything like me because you get to actually talk to the people and be a part of the transformation. And as anyone knows who's built a course, literally the day you release it, it's outdated. Because if you're training on tech, you're training on strategy, like there's things that are timeless. But I talked to a coach recently who said, "Hey, it's been 4 years since we made our course, and like I'm just pulling my hair out because I don't want to go rebuild that whole thing. It was so much work to build." And somebody came in and said, "These videos are 4 years old. I want a refund." Right. And so you also have to think about this piece of being nimble in terms of what you're delivering. And if it's just you, like you can update yourself daily. Updating a course daily is another story. And again, I'm going to show you how to leverage that so that it's a good model for you and you're not on one-on-one calls all day. But that's kind of how I think about that.
Okay, yeah, because that's where my mind is. I'm like, okay, that sounds great on paper, but
Yeah.
how do I scale myself? Like
Mm-hmm.
how do I scale this thing to a lifestyle that gives me the freedom that I ultimately want? So,
Yeah.
okay, let's keep going. Back to pricing strategy. Yep,
Yeah. So let's go over those three models I talked about. The
perfect.
first one, I'm just going to call the straight up course model. This is a course only, course with a specific outcome, typically $100 to $500 one time. You sell it with the sales page. The pros here, super low maintenance. It's easy to sell because it's not that expensive. You need massive, but the cons are that you're going to need a lot of volume to make a significant income, or you need upsells or cross sells, other things like that. Um, you're going to have a low profit margin if you're running ads. Like ad costs are just increasing. And so if you're, let's say, getting a $100 cost per purchase on a $200 course, you've lost half your profit in marketing. And that's not even counting your time or any software costs, et cetera. And then there's no recurring in this one-off course model. So the
Got it.
kinds of people I see crush it with this have really big audiences with beginners, and they just don't want to talk to anyone. And they sell a $300 course. They've already built the audience, so they don't need any marketing budget.
Yeah,
And I've heard of stories of people getting to 100,000 a month just with this kind of thing. But again, you need a lot of eyeballs, and you need them for basically free for this to work. And we'll talk about how this can be a good model with the other model I'm going to kind of bolt on the top here. The second one I call the guru model. So your typical run of the mill guru is probably running something like this. So they have a course and a community that would be like a more comprehensive course, which is as opposed to the our $100 to $200 course, which is maybe just helping with one specific thing. They have group support, so a community where you can ask questions. They have group calls, and this would typically be somewhere from $1,000 to $10,000 one time. And it's typically sold with a sales call if you're over $2,000, or a webinar if you're under $2,000. So the webinar is great because it gives you a ton of leverage. You can get on essentially one sales call and sell it to 500 people or however many you can get to show up. And you can also, make webinars evergreen so people can just watch them whenever they want. But again, once you get past that or around that $2,000 threshold, you've got to be a really savage marketer to get that to work. And you've got to know exactly what people are thinking. You've got to work on that webinar probably 10 to 20 times, rewriting it, getting it perfect. And you'll be able to sell something around $2,000 at a really good that would have solid profit margins for you. But this is why most people today are, especially with rising ad costs, et cetera, are moving to, hey, let's get people on calls and let's sell this thing for a lot more expensive. So, example, talking to another coach kind of in my same niche, he sells a program for like 8 to 15K, I want to say. And because there's just so much money coming in so fast, they can afford to spend $2,000, $3,000 to acquire a customer. and still be super profitable on that because basically their only cost is marketing, right? You got to pay the sales guy, et cetera, but those can be commission only. And so you don't have a ton of risk there. And again, if you're not in the business niche, this is tough because you might not be selling something for over $2,000. It totally is possible that you may be, but for people that are maybe helping with the smaller transformation, these numbers might sound insane, and you think that you could never charge them. That may be true. It may not be true, but that's maybe a challenge depending on your niche. So the pros here, you're going to have a lot of cash up front, which is awesome. But the cons, you're going to need a sales team. And again, there's no recurring here, right?
Got it. And I've seen
And
this quite a bit.
yeah,
The second one is like the most popular in the world of marketing, right?
100%.
It's
Yeah.
it's like we see this all the time. Whether your community lives inside Discord, Slack, school, high
Mhm.
level, wherever it is, we know this model is like really popular versus the first one is more of like a lead magnet model of like,
Yeah.
oh, let me just do the 67 steps for $67 for 67 results that I'm gonna
Yeah.
get for my 67 businesses.
Yeah.
Like it's like,
Yes.
all right, man, we know this was a lead magnet. You got us. That's literally what it feels like.
Yeah.
All
And
right, so
there's sort of this middle ground, which is where I was for the past year selling a program between like around 1500, where you don't
yeah,
really need the sales call. It's if your marketing's good, like you can sell it and you can get,
yeah,
like it's not that difficult depending on your audience size, et cetera, to get to like
okay,
30K months. And if that's all you want, that's awesome. And so there is a world where this works and you don't need the sales team. For me, when I was kind of reevaluating things at the end of last year, I couldn't bring myself to hire a sales guy, hire a setting team, go all in on ads, start charging $10,000 up front. Like it didn't feel like me, and it didn't feel like the right thing for my audience at the end of the day. Um, if anyone's done these big pay in full things, some people pay in full right at the beginning, they get really excited and then they drop off. And I don't have any like ethical qualms with that because I didn't promise any massive things. But for me, I want them to be committed to the process and maybe to be able to help them for the time that they're committed to it. And if that doesn't work out, that doesn't work out. But I'm not taking like a life changing amount of money from them if for some reason they quit the process, right? And you can call that a mindset issue, whatever. But for me, I find I sleep better at night when I'm not doing that, right? So that's where this model came about. I was trying to solve all these problems, and I happened upon a few things that I've combined, and this is kind of how it works. So we have a small course, kind of focus on the most key important templates and resources and videos we need to give out. We have group conversations, we have group calls, but we throw in this one-on-one onboarding aspect, which means that they get to talk to you directly, or me in this case. And then we sell this with DMs, a sales page, or even a Google Doc. That's how I'm doing it right now. Just trying to keep it as simple as possible. And the reason that we do that is so that we don't have to do sales calls. If any of you have sold through sales calls, you know how exhausting it is. 5 days into the week, you've had 3 no-shows every day. You've had people repeating their negative beliefs to you over the sales call over and over again, or your sales team is doing it. You have to manage them, and it can get really tiring. And so my thing was, how can I never get on a sales call again? And that's what we did here. So the pros here is that it's easy to sell. There's recurring revenue. You have the most leverage. It's the fastest to start, which is a huge one for most people here today. But the cons, depending on who you are, is the focus is on access to you. Like at the end of the day, you are the product, as I mentioned, and that can make it a little bit more difficult um, to remove yourself from the process, but not impossible. And by the way, it looks like I forgot to include the pricing strategy here, but basically, the way this one works is we sell weekly pricing. So instead of a monthly upfront cost, it may be, let's say, $1,000. We just chunk that out into weekly payments and say it's $250 a week. And that way, somebody can say yes super easily. Say, oh, it's just like, oh, okay, $250 a week. I hop on, I get a one-on-one call with you, and then if I find out this isn't for me, I can leave. Yeah, that's exactly how it works. And
Interesting.
then if we get really good results for them and they're blown away by the product, which they will be if it's great, then I get to retain that recurring revenue long term. And I can sell as many spots as I want at one time, or I can turn it off for a little bit or whatever. It's a very nimble model where we don't have to be just like constantly on this marketing cycle, which most coaches get stuck in. Like they can't even work on their products and making their coaching templates better because they're just marketing all day long. And if instead we move to this sort of easy, yes, hey, I can bring in a few people at a time, give them a really good experience because they're getting a one on one onboarding call with me. And it's easy to say yes because of the weekly pricing. This is a no brainer. And I have much more time to spend on actually getting people results instead of marketing all day long.
Wait a minute, Keaton. Wait a minute. This looks awfully familiar. This is like a SaaS model to me. This is like a recurring subscription model
Yeah.
where you've taken away that high ticket experience. You're like, you know what? Do a low ticket, come do a trial run of some kind or an experience that's
Yeah.
like shorter amount of time and you decide whether this is something you want to do long term. Is my assumption right here?
It is, yeah.
Accurate?
Yeah, the and we're going to talk about it.
Interesting.
I've got a few examples where we compare those. So,
Right. So model two is $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. You get a
mhm,
course, you get a community. There's no onboarding. It's done through essentially a sales guy who you may or may not see, cash up
yeah.
front, right? The second one is like you're doing a one-on-one onboarding with them, so
Yeah.
they're getting housed into something. What are they getting housed into? Like, is there a community, a software
Yeah,
ecosystem? Like,
yeah.
what is that? What is the parent housing?
So this group conversations in the community, so I'm using high level communities
Gotcha.
for this. They pop in
Interesting.
there and it's got all the lessons, it's got access to me to ask questions. I answer every day. And if it's something where they're like, "Hey, here's I have this question," and be like, "Oh, I made a resource on that already. I'll just link it. If you have any other
Got it.
questions, let me know." Right. And then we have
Yeah.
a call once a week.
So, quick question for you. Why
Mhm.
why do 250 or 100 or whatever a week instead of that much billing traffic or billing,
Mhm.
volume? Why not just do 250 a month?
Yeah. So it's sort of a tricky model where it feels like most people are used to the monthly subscription. And so they're like, oh, it doesn't sound like that much more. Right. But the real key is that first payment is easy enough to make that they're willing to make it
Gotcha.
without a sales call. And then you get the
Interesting.
opportunity to sell them as you deliver because you're just giving them awesome results, you know?
I like this is interesting. How many of y'all are excited about this? Give me a yes in the chat if you are interested in learning more about this hybrid idea that Kian kind of put together. Because I've never seen it done in the education space the way Kian is describing. Now, this is gonna be really cool to kind of unpack. So
Yeah.
let me get out of the way. Keep going, keep going, keep
Yeah,
going.
there's tons of cool like side benefits to the weekly pricing as well. You sneak in a few extra payments, and when you think about it at the end of the day, you're giving people value, not really on a daily basis because maybe they have a day where they're busy so they don't ask a question. Not really on a monthly basis because you're helping them way more often than monthly, but weekly is this perfect time interval where they're getting results, you're delivering those results, and it makes sense to be paid that way as well. But as we know, there's 12 months in a year, which would be 48 weeks if they were all perfectly scheduled out, but it's really 52 weeks. So you also kind of sneak in an extra month of billing throughout the year.
Got
So
it.
steal that for whatever you want. Your SaaS, switch it to $50 a week instead of 200 a month, something like that.
Got it.
Um,
Okay.
so I'm just going to show you some example. This was my course before um, I pivoted, right? And you can see this is kind of the pricing we were looking at. And now this is my Dominators Guild. I kind of state the outcome here, and then I just say, hey, DM me on Instagram if you want to join. And that's great. But the cool thing about this hybrid model is that we don't just have the one level of, you know, life in there, which is like here, it's like buy this or that's it. But there's some people who are willing to come in and pay much more because they want more access and more help. And so what I've done here is added on the option for private coaching. So the Dominators Guild for me is 200 a week. The private coaching is 500 a week. And I
Okay.
limit that to 7 spots, right? So I'm not getting overextended, but I've got enough people in there that it's exciting for me and I get to work more hands-on, which if you're anything like me, again, you get bored when you're answering the same questions every day with the same types of scenarios from a kind of a distance in a community. And so this private coaching, they get my WhatsApp number, we chat back and forth. I'm more responsive there. And it's just a higher level of service, but they're still in the guild, right? It's basically just an upgrade. But
Got it.
there's no complication in the delivery for me because it's the same offer at the end of the day. It's just a little bit more access.
Got it.
And
And
then,
I think having the private coaching probably allows you to elevate your product and the course
hmm,
materials, right?
yeah, yeah. The when I'm thinking about the problems that my right now 6 out of 7 people have in the private coaching, I'm able to take those, really get deep on those problems and then create better products and templates out of that.
Got
So
it. And
then,
and for
sorry, go ahead.
2000 a week, and for 2000 a week, they can come over to the house, right? No, I'm kidding.
Just for you,
All right,
Paulson.
let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
So then I had this idea. I was like, this community thing is amazing. And as I mentioned, one of the main benefits of this model that I love the most is I'll go back here. It's the fastest to start because you're not focused on, hey, here's my 70-part course with all these videos, which is what I used to do. Instead, it's like, hey, you just want to chat? Like you want to talk to me once a week and like get access to some of my best stuff? Here you go. I already have most of it made. So if you're starting today or pivoting today, you can actually sell this today, like I mentioned. So what I decided to do was, hey, like I accidentally became an affiliate marketer over the last year when I started making HighLevel videos. And what if I could help those affiliates stay on longer? That's sort of my SaaS at this point because I'm just helping people understand and use HighLevel. What if I could help them by adding on a community? And so that's exactly what I did. I just said, hey, become an affiliate. And I priced this one if they want to pay for it directly at 50 a week. But if they want to just become an affiliate, then they can, and then they join the affiliate community. That one doesn't have a cap.
And
This one's capped.
that's the affiliate for your coaching program.
No,
Oh,
this is
that's
its
for
own. It's basically a lower tier, right?
gotcha.
So if I were to launch this directly and it was just like more geared towards beginners and it was a completely separate community, which it is now, I would price it at this 50 a week because that's sort of, compared to my 200 a week, it's geared at someone with a little bit less money, a little bit less resources, right?
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
so instead of that, I said, I've already got all this momentum with affiliates. So why don't I just, put 20 software options? So it's mainly HighLevel and like HighLevel adjacent things that people can plug into HighLevel. Say, hey, you'll get all my templates, my resources. So you don't get everything, but you get some stuff. And we're going to have a call once a month. So this is a monthly call. You get access to my team to ask questions. I don't personally answer questions here. You get access to my snapshots, etc.
Yeah.
And then I'm building a pool of people I can pull from to go into
Got
the
it.
main offer, right?
Got it. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So those of you that are watching this workshop, maybe this is all Sanskrit to you. I just want to invite you to think in the creator's mode, right? We are
Mm-hmm.
talking in terms of building the course, being the coach to serve a XYZ community. We're thinking about the sense of building a whole educational program as part of the business ecosystem, or maybe a door or a bridge into your world of business. So
Yeah.
just want to give you guys all the perspective that we're thinking in is it's a course creator's perspective. So
Yeah.
becoming an affiliate for $50 a week, that's basically like 200 bucks a month.
Mm-hmm.
Dominators Guild, that is basically the Model 3 hybrid course. You get a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
stuff plus a little bit of you, which basically is 800 bucks, I guess, a
Mm-hmm.
month. and then you have the $2,000 a month of private coaching. Before we go any further, Keaton, why these prices and why these names? Like, what is Dominators Guild? Like, how did you come up with
Mm.
the branding? And then help us understand the pricing.
Yeah. So we're gonna go deeper into branding tomorrow. I've got some really
Okay,
exciting
perfect,
stuff
perfect.
around that, so
Let's
I'm
let's
excited
skip
for that.
over that. Let's skip
Okay.
over that then. Yeah.
But basically, I want to make it clear. I know adding in, maybe you guys are confused, like what's this other community he just talked about? I just want to give you an example of a creative way to deploy this, right?
Okay.
It's not just, it doesn't have to be 200 or 300 a week. Like if your audience is going to do much better at 25 a week or 50 a week or 75 a week, that's great. Or if you're just in a place where you recommend a lot of softwares, then you could have this affiliate kind of community that helps them be retained longer. Um, where most affiliates are just giving away you know, some templates and a course, maybe you can also give away a little bit of access to yourself and have a monthly call. It's not that much extra work to hopefully retain those people much longer.
Got it.
So those are kind of my three levels. Take whatever works for you, discard what doesn't. Um, so here's just some comparing these models, right? On the course side, we've got, let's say it's 200 one time. We need 12 sales a week or 50 sales a month to get to 10K a month. On the guru side, let's say we're selling something for 2K. That's going to be, 1 to 2 sales a week, 5 clients a month. That'll get us to 10K a month. On the hybrid side, let's say we're doing 100 a week. We're going to get 6 sales a week for 4 weeks, which getting people to pay $100 on a recurring subscription isn't that tough. So let's say we get 6 of those for a month. We only need 24 clients ever, as long as we retain them, to stay at 10K per month, because this is the only one that's got that recurring element to it. And that's the beauty. We can stop marketing every day and just wake up and worry about where the next client is coming from, and instead be focusing on serving those clients, getting them such good results that we can just take those results, post them online, and get a few more recurring clients, right? And that's what most coaches out there are after, because most start every month at zero. When April comes, how much recurring revenue do you have? If you don't have any, I really highly recommend you focus on this hybrid model. And then here's another example. Let's say we go with the hybrid. We only need 4 sales a week for 4 weeks. So 16 clients in our main offer at 100 a week. And maybe we have the ability, and there's people who want more access than this. Then we sell 2 tier 2 subscriptions at 2K a month each, and that's 4K a month. And then we hit our 10K, right? So it's also very nimble in terms of what we can deliver and to whom. And the beauty of this, again, is no matter what you choose, you can add in a little bit of recurring revenue or a lot of recurring revenue by referring people to softwares, getting them on your SaaS, or providing services to them. So what does this look like? I recently worked with this company, AI Commerce. It's owned by a guy that's done over $1 billion in e-commerce sales, right? It's a marketing agency. And what they were struggling with is really long sales cycles. And the prospects didn't understand the full picture. They did so much and they had so much expertise that they were trying to sell the whole kitchen sink. And because it was so expensive, they needed 5 calls to do it, right? And even then, they were just sort of like, I'm not sure. And so what we did instead was we moved a hybrid coaching offer to the front and put the agency at the back. So for 200 a week, you get access to the person who's done over $1 billion in sales. He didn't have to build any course materials to start this, because they're just asking him questions. And on those calls, he's making amazing changes to their business almost immediately. And then the next call, the next week, they're like, well, I need some help with my PPC. I need some help with my Facebook ads. Okay, why don't you use my team? Easy upsell. The customers have context already, and they're getting paid to sell because they're getting paid 200 a week for people to be in the community anyway. So it's like, hey, I want this extra service. Great, let's tack it on, right? And then in the long term, we've got retention, we've got partnerships, we've got things that can come out of these really easy to say yes to offers, and we attract this higher quality of person who just wants access. They don't want a course. They want, hey, here's clarity, right? And that's what this does. It's beautiful. Another example, a client of mine, she's in a challenge that I started at the beginning of the year. If she's running a SaaS and she's in the insurance, or sorry, the mortgage space, so she has really, high cost to acquire a customer in terms of her time right now. She's not running ads or anything, but she's getting on sales calls, trying to sell the sub accounts inside of her SaaS. And she was getting stuck in this loop where everything had to be built out before she could launch. And she wasn't even sure exactly what to build. She knew what she wanted, but she didn't know what her clients wanted. Right. And so this is the model that I suggested to her. She kind of suggested it to herself. And I said, hey, this might be good for you. 100 a week, access to you as the consultant. The extra cash is going to help with your margins and your startup costs with your SaaS. And then you're going to have easy upsells into the software, because you're not talking about software when people come on. You're talking about results and business outcomes. And here's how to sell more mortgages. And here's how I'm doing this, right? They're like, I want help with that. So they get help with that. And you say, oh, by the way, sign up for my SaaS. It's going to make it 10 times easier, right? Same thing. Easy upsells, customers have context, you're getting paid to sell. And then on the SaaS side, you can have build out fees. Your coaching is going to help with the churn. And the fact that they've signed up for the coaching in the first place means that they're going to have the business acumen and help that they need to actually get the results in the first place with the SaaS. And then if they want to cancel coaching someday, which they probably will, they'll be built out on the SaaS, so you retain the customer that way. Now, lastly, let's say you're an affiliate marketer or you have some sort of affiliate products you refer to. One of the most frustrating things here is you feel like you're not extracting your potential revenue from your audience. And there can be churn on affiliates, right? So here's what I would recommend. Put your affiliate community in place. It's included with whatever subscription they sign up to. They get access to you. It increases the stick rate. And then you have easy upsells to your coaching, which is X amount a week. And the percent of people who want more help than you can provide for the amount that you're making from your affiliate commissions are actually have somewhere to go instead of, and it can be very nimble in terms of how long they join and how long they're in there, instead of being like, my only option is this course, which is what I was struggling with for a while.
Yeah, let's
So
pause for a second. So
yeah,
help me understand a couple items here for clarity.
yeah,
What you're describing to me is using an educational system at a low ticket subscription model to be leveraged as a client acquisition bridge, essentially, to
exactly.
whatever services or higher programs, private coaching, inner circle, or XYZ, whatever that thing is, right? Does this work in most industries or all industries? Are there any like disadvantages to this? The only thing I'm not yet convinced on is the
Mm-hmm,
number of subscriptions. That's a lot of volume of billing. But
mm-hmm.
maybe at low tickets, that's actually good for you if it shows that on Stripe there's like hundreds of transactions that are not disputed, right? Like that, and maybe that's a good thing, and I don't know enough about that coaching space on
You
billing,
do you
but
just mean the like for accounting it gets
that
complicated because
yeah,
you
the
have so
number
many?
of transactions is like that's 4 transactions for each month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which that's a lot of transactions. I just don't know enough about the benefits of that versus
Yeah,
the non-benefits. But outside of that, everything you've described is like this is on point. This allows you to get paid essentially to provide an experience for customers for higher ticket experiences.
yeah. Yeah, or to take whatever's selling the best, like we in this case I put hybrid here, but it could totally be on the left side of the screen. And you start with the hybrid coaching and then you just increase your LTV with some affiliate products or whatever else, right? And so many of you depend whatever one of your questions was, which does this work in every industry? Absolutely. You've it's this easy, it's like tip of the spear in your coaching program. Go out there with the easiest possible thing to say yes to that's paid, because free stuff, as good as it is going to attract a lot of people that want free stuff. But if you have something that's paid and easy to get into, then you can sell them on whatever you want afterwards because they trust you, right? And you can
Yeah.
even, to your point about the transactions, which by the way, it doesn't bother me, but maybe bothers my accountant, but that's another story. But let's say, Paulson, you joined the Dominators Guild and you're like loving it a month in, you got 5 clients, you feel so much more clarity and simplicity. I'm like, hey man, you want the rest of the year locked in? I'll give you a 30% discount.
Oh,
Here's the invoice for 7K. And you lock in the rest of the year. And I don't I have to worry about you leaving because you paid me, right? So, and I also didn't have to arm wrestle you on a sales call for an hour and a half to get a pay
yeah.
in full. I just provided the result to you. And
Yeah.
then you
So
said,
then,
okay, let's do this.
so with this model, Keaton, like, what are the retention rates that you see with this type of a hybrid experience? Like, obviously, it's going to be better than average or better churn than average, but like,
Mm-hmm.
what are those really look like on retention?
Yeah. So it really depends on the market and the sophistication of the buyer. So I'm just testing right now in a lot of ways. Like the community's been a great success, but I'm still looking and getting those churn numbers out. But what I'm noticing is when I have a conversation with somebody before they join and they say some things like, oh, this is going to be a stretch financially, I'm not sure about this, etc. I'm like, hey, just even if you hop in for a little bit and it doesn't work out, like you can leave whenever you want. um, and we'll talk about some other strategies to help with churn down the line. But everybody that's joined where this is not a super significant amount of money for them, and the problem is painful enough, and they're actually using and getting in there, like it's a I haven't experienced a ton of churn at all. But if they don't use it, then of course they'll churn. It's the same with software, right?
Yeah.
So some of my mentors in this space say about 15 weeks is something you can count on typically as an average number at around 100 a week. So, but again, if you're like super desirable and you're getting great results for people and it takes, a fairly long time for them to be completely set up with everything that they want, or they have this kind of nagging doubt in the back of their head that they'll still need your help in a few weeks.
Yeah.
um, what you can do is set up a rule where if they leave, they can't rejoin for a certain amount of time, and that ends up that commits them to you as much as you're committing to them, because they can't
Yeah.
just be like, oh, I need to pause for 2 weeks going on
Yeah.
vacation. It's like, look, I'm helping you with this transformation, and I'm not taking time off to help you with the transformation. You are, and you're committing to me. And so let's, if you leave, you can't come back for 6 months or 12 months or whatever it is. And that cuts down on those, hey, I'm hopping in, I'm
Yeah.
hopping out type things.
Got it. So we'll go back into kind of reviewing, I guess, churn
Mm-hmm.
strategies, and there's obviously revenue churn and there's client churn. Both are two
Mm-hmm.
different things, and we'll talk about it maybe the next couple of days. But let's
Yeah,
keep going. Let's keep going.
great. Um, so I'm hoping this is really landing with people because it felt like this magical revelation to me when I've finally figured out what was right. Um, and as I mentioned here, like the next step in our easy yes offer is setting your terms and your boundaries, like what exactly are going to be including for what price. And really, really important concept here, less is actually more in many cases. Value is more important than volume. It's Most people don't want 10 calls. They don't want 200 snapshots. They don't want, like, nobody's going to be able to go to 10 calls a week and go through a million videos, right? They actually just want clarity. And so if you can give them that one-on-one onboarding experience, you can give them the calls where they have direct access to you each week and enough time to ask their questions, you're good to go. The duration of the engagement or contract. So are you locked in for, 12 months? Are you locked in for a week? Or are you locked in for 2 months? That will make a difference in terms of who says yes when. And then pricing terms, payment plans. or monthly/weekly fees. So many people will say, hey, this is a $20,000 program, but we're giving you a payment plan for whatever that would be, 1,600 a month, um, for 12 months, right? It's a payment plan. It's not a monthly fee. Very crucial that you talk to your
Differentiate
people
that.
about what that actually is, right? Um, Clear is kind. So for me, this is the way I say this. You get a one-on-one onboarding call with me. You get weekly group calls. You get access to the Dominators Guild community. You get access to all the Dominators Blueprint video trainings and templates. They get direct consulting from me in structuring their offer, attracting their ideal clients, increasing the client lifetime value, troubleshooting issues, and other aspects of building and running their dream business. Here's the investment. I say it's your simple pay as you profit model, makes it incredibly easy to get started. Your investment is 200 upfront and 200 payments of 200 weekly. Love it or leave it. It's an asset, not a liability. You can leave at any time, but if you leave, you're unable to rejoin for 12 months. Right. And again, it's amazing how I feel like the market has swung so far in terms of like amazing results, like massive promises, massive guarantees, right? And I'm on the other side, like how can I guarantee nothing but still get you to sign up and show you that I know what I'm doing, but not promise you something that's going to leave you sad at the end of the day, because that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to actually get to the result, and the people I want to work with don't need me to sign my life away that I'm going to guarantee something, right? And so I just say no guarantees or big promises, just simplicity and results. So the next step is that email launch strategy. Any last questions
So,
here before
so
we move on?
yeah, so are we gonna go inside of high level and just kind of see how this all looks
Yeah.
like? Because I know that's kind of like your wizardry in some sense. That's your a lot of the strong point. How many of y'all are
um,
resonating with everything that's being shared so far? Give me a yes in the chat if you've had some takeaways, and feel free to put those takeaways down. I'm gonna kind of just get a
yeah,
quick
I'd love
temp
to hear some of those
check.
before we move on.
Yeah, well, what's been your takeaway so far? Give us a yes in the chat. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and go to my phone. For some reason, it's always faster on the phone to see the
Nice.
comments. And by the way, inside Zoom, we have it turned off intentionally so you can
Yeah.
engage our.
And Paulson, while you're pulling that up, a little known fact is Mr. Hormozy himself, which many people here know and respect. One of their big levers that they would give gyms in gym launch is weekly pricing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Not sure who that is. Kidding. But I think when you see other people kind of adopting a model that makes sense, you're going to
Mm,
see more people that kind of lean towards it and just kind of go towards it.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, a lot of people are loving the hybrid coaching model so far. So let's keep going, Keaton. I don't want to slow you
Great.
down. We know there's a ton of things to cover. So we're inside of high level. Before we get started, how many of y'all are interested in kind of seeing what high level does? Like, do you want us to do like a 30-second quick demo of high level? Those of you that don't even have a high level, give me a yes in the chat if you want us to do like a quick demo. If not, we'll go right into automations and some of the things.
Great.
Someone says, yeah, there's a few, actually, there's a ton of people that are saying yes. Can you just do
Yeah.
like a quick walkthrough of the left side of menu if you don't
Yeah.
mind? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So this is just a dummy account. So there's no like data in here right now. But what you would see here inside of your account, the first thing you really need to start with is this opportunities board. And let's say for your business, a typical coaching business, this is what I set up. So a lead or a DM that you get, a workshop attendee, somebody that's interested, somebody that's maybe on a wait list, a client, and then maybe someone that you're ignoring because they're trying to pitch you something. This is my typical pipeline, right? So once this pipeline is set up, you're going to see all of this data automatically populate inside of here. So this opportunity status, it would show, okay, how many are in the leads, how many are in the workshop, interested, wait list, etc. And then what are the value of that? If you set up the values inside of HighLevel. So this dashboard becomes super, super useful, just more useful the more you use it. Then inside of conversations, we're going to have uh, Instagram DMs, Facebook DMs, leads, emails, texts, all of this living in the one spot. And we also have templates that we can send them, actions that we can do, like, hey, I need to set a reminder for myself to text this person at this time. That's going to be here in the conversations dashboard. Calendars, just like Calendly, but you can manage literally your entire calendar in here. And there's like so much functionality inside of calendars. Contacts, this is where all of your emails and everything would live. Opportunities we saw, payments, we can actually get paid directly through HighLevel's integration with Stripe and a couple other payment processors. Marketing, this is going to be mainly email marketing, but we also have an affiliate manager and a social planner. So you could cancel your buffer subscription or your later subscription and use this. Automation, this is where we're going to be showing you some stuff. So I'll come back, but this is the most powerful part of HighLevel for me. Sites, this is where we can have funnels, websites, blogs, forms, surveys, all of that. And there's tons. I've included 10 funnel templates in here for anybody who ends up getting that offer that we put in the chat. We've got membership. So this is courses and communities. So I've got some dummy products in here created, but communities also, some dummy communities created in here. And you can just click on this and see how awesome that looks. Like gorgeous. We've got the learning in here. We've got members. We've got a leaderboard, and I can just post anything I want there. And then reputation. This would be online reviews, reporting from any ad platforms, and also, if you've got people calling, you could do that. See there, like the agent reporting and the appointment reporting. And then the app marketplace and the mobile app here are there's tons of add-ons you can give to HighLevel, and then the mobile app obviously is so you can manage all of this from your phone.
Awesome. Let's keep going. Someone said this replaces school. Well, we're about to show
Yes.
you how to build something.
Yeah, it doesn't just replace that, it replaces everything you need.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So
So
workflows are like I guess automations, right?
yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is the one I'll show you here. This is our world's simplest email campaign. This is, I promise you, we're going to have a strategy to go to market by the end of today. And this is the strategy. So I'm going to show you this launch sequence here. Ethan, by the way, it looks like we've got 6 people in the waiting room that I can see.
Yeah, yeah. They
Um,
basically create announcements and let
oh, great.
cohorts of people come in. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries.
I
Sorry.
got it. I
I
just
should
noticed
have.
I had been there for a while.
Oh,
Cool.
by the way, can you zoom in to maybe
Yeah.
like 125?
Okay.
And Keaton, it sounds like for someone who's brand new to high level, this thing could replace like 20 softwares and have everything talking to each other, whether it's an
Yes.
agency or for a business owner or not, right?
Yeah. So I'll show you right here. So let's say, in this case, we don't really have a trigger, but we could just trigger this workflow off of anything. So um, most of these would probably be in payments, like somebody actually pays for something, or somebody submits like an opt-in form or something like that. They email us or they DM us. We can fire something off. I'll show you some of those later. But in this
Cool.
case, this would be like a manual ad typically. So we'd just create this workflow, and then we'd say, okay, we got 500 people on the email list. We're going to add them to this list, right? Um, and the way this is the copy for this email. It's also in the slides, but I'll just read it to you here. So contact first name. This is our field that's going to automatically update that. On this day or date, I'll be opening the doors to my brand new community. And then we've got this really cool thing, this custom value, which I'll show you here in a minute. You can just replace this once, and then it'll update across all the emails inside of this snapshot. So for me, this would be the Dominators Guild, right? Let me actually show you that real quick. I forgot before we hopped in there, but you just hop into here into settings, and then we'll go to custom values. You can see here, community name long, community name short. So for me, I'm the Dominators Guild and the Guild are kind of my like long name and my short name. So I could just come in here and type in the Dominators Guild, right? And now
And
every
Keaton,
time,
all these items that you're showing will be
mhm,
included in the snapshot.
exactly. Yep.
Okay. Okay, cool.
And I'm gonna include the short one here, which is just the guild, right? And now, and let's say I have a course as well. I could replace my course name here. I've just put an example course for now.
Okay.
So those are filled in. And as I mentioned inside of the snapshot, I've just put this here. So you only have to come in, replace this once, and then all of your emails are updated, which is my favorite thing about HighLevel, how easy it is to get leverage really quickly. So we'll go back to this email here.
If you don't mind going to 125 on view
Yes,
and
thanks
do
again.
the steps. Yeah.
Um,
That's usually
great,
yeah, the only
great,
place I'm kind of useful.
great. Okay. So I'll be opening the doors to my brand new community, and then this is going to update automatically the Dominators Guild. It will be a community of niche businesses that vacation/outcome that we talked about without bad thing. I'm making it super accessible to get started for only lowest payment amount. That's $200 for me. But for I'm limiting the first intake to only people, this number of people/businesses. Stay tuned for tomorrow's email to get the full details. The subject line will be custom values, community name long, invite. And then user first name, whoever's sending this email will automatically update that. So you don't have to go automatically or update your name in every email either. And then I say here, PS, if you want to skip the line and come inside before the rush, reply skip, and I'll get you all the details. Again, there will only be this many spots. Once they're gone, the doors will close. So keep an eye out for future emails. And then the beauty of HighLevel, we just set a wait step for a day and we go to email 2, etc. But I
So
want to show you guys
r-
the
r-
power. Sorry, give me one sec, Paulson here. So here I said reply skip, and I'll get you all the details. So I don't want to be manually sending that. What if somebody replies at 2 a.m. and it's 8 a.m. where they are? So what I've set up in here is if somebody replies skip to the launch sequence, this is my trigger here. Customer replied skip. See that exact phrase match. So if they say the word skip, I'm going to wait 15 seconds and then I'm going to send them this email. Hey, thanks for reaching out. Here's the info. If you want to join now, you can use this link. Thanks. That's the beauty of HighLevel right there.
so quick scenario question. The very
Yeah.
first email that you showed,
Mm-hmm.
who's getting that? Is that a paid customer or a prospect?
This would be leads. Yeah. So
Okay.
anyone that is not yet a customer or maybe has bought
Okay.
something from you in the past but isn't currently active.
Got it. So let's say I have a group of 500 leads or 1,000 leads that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of they don't know about my program.
Mm-hmm.
This is the launch sequence to market to that list to invite
Exactly.
them to an XYZ launch. Then
Mm-hmm.
in that launch, you have messages that are already pre-built, and one of the action items is the response word skip. And if somebody types or replies skip back to you on a text or email, it'll launch a second automation
Mm-hmm.
that gives them access to the actual program or more
Yeah,
details.
exactly. And we
Okay.
can go in here to settings as well and just toggle on this stop on response if that's something we
Okay.
want. So if somebody does respond, it won't send them the rest of the emails so they don't get
Got it.
confused.
Got it. Got it. So this is the way you would launch for an existing audience that you already are talking to.
Yeah, people that
Okay.
you can do this. And you can take a similar script and as I said before, put it on your socials, send it out in DMs even if you wanted to. But the key things we're seeing here, I'll go to these slides here. The key things we need for this email to work um, are an easy yes offer, which is, hey, you can say yes for just this amount, which is where weekly pricing really helps out. Urgency, we're doing it from this date to this date. Scarcity, there's only this many spots. And then proof, which is going to come in the next emails. here's proof I can actually help you with this. So we do a case study, right? A while back, I had a coaching client or student named name. He was in this situation when he joined my coaching program. He was struggling to do this. Fast forward this long, and this name is now, he's achieved this desired results. I got the chance to sit down with him and discuss how working with me helped him give him the tools and confidence to get the desired result. If you're in this current situation and you want to learn how to take things to the next level, there's plenty of gold nuggets in this interview, and then send the link. And I've actually included in this in the sites here this interview and CTA uh, platform here. So let's say case study, how name, achieved result, and time frame. You put your video interview that you did with your student, and then you just say, hey, you want to get me one-on-one help with result, DM me this on Instagram, or DM me this, or email me this, right? And you say how many spots are left. So pretty great way to get people reading and getting some insight into how you can help them. And then you just pop this quick call to action on the page.
Got it. And this is all included in the snapshot already, basically,
Exactly.
when we
Yeah.
get it from you. So if you don't have high level guys and gals, sign up for a trial under Keaton during this workshop. You get all these things. Or if you already have high level, upgrade to the highest plan or the next plan above, and we'll make sure you get all the snapshots. Just
Love it.
FYI. And those of you that are already on the highest plan, stay put. We'll have something for you. So, Ken, I have a question for you. This
Yeah.
seems like you already went through like a beta of some kind and you build up some assets.
Mm-hmm.
What if I don't have a case study? What if I've never launched a program just yet? I don't even know what my pricing is. What if I'm like a little scared, a little shy, because this is not a territory I've been past, like been down. Like, what do
Yeah.
you recommend? What if I don't have a list of 500 people I can just market to?
Yeah. So your first step is that offer that we talked about, right? If you don't have results, you're probably better off going in the done for you services market, not the coaching market, because how are you going to help if you haven't helped before? But if you've gone through the transformation yourself, like let's say, you were out of shape and you got in shape and you're helping people with that same transformation, you are your own case study. And that's what I imagine many of the people on today's call maybe are in that situation where they want to help with the same transformation they've gone through, but they haven't gotten their first client. In that case, you replace this case study and you just put your own case study in here. Hey, I was struggling with this. Fast forward, this is what I figured out. Here's how I did it. I actually recorded a quick video on it. And then you send them to the page, have the call to action down below, right? And getting that first, like if you haven't gone through the transformation yourself, maybe it's something that you can't do yourself. Like for me, I was not an orthodontist, so I couldn't grow my own orthodontic practice at 21 years old when I started. But I had to market to the orthodontists, and so what I did was I got my first client on a cheap monthly retainer that wasn't expensive for them, but allowed me to learn as I provided the result to them because I had some experience, but not a ton. And so getting that first person in the door, whatever it takes, if it's a free trial, you help them out for free. You can create that case study either with yourself or with your first client.
Yeah, and can we do a quick temperature check in the room? Give us a yes in the chat if you are in the early stages of putting together a beta and you're working on your case studies right now. Whether you are your own case study and transformation that you went through and want to build up some sort of a brand or case study around, or maybe you're working with other students and you're trying to figure that out. Give us a yes in the chat if you're in the early stages of building together your own case study. Okay, let's keep going. So what else are we looking at here? What are these wait steps? Like what are the benefits of that? Why wait a day?
Yeah. So it just allows you to add people to a bunch of emails at once instead of having to go in once a day and say, okay, here's my new email. I'm going to add everybody to it and sign it up. So if we actually had a live workflow here, you'd see a little like tag here, so to speak, with how many people are in there. So let's say I added 100 people. They'd say 100 people go through this, and then they'd be on this wait step for a day. We'd see them there, and then they'd progress. The next email would send, they'd
Yeah.
wait, and the next email would send.
And you're talking about the stats view, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
But I
Got
were
it.
to toggle this on, you could also see how many got delivered, opened, clicked, replied, etc.
Got it. And Keaton, what do you recommend? Like some people, I feel like they have a lot of results and case studies, but they just never like formally ask the clients for like a testimonial or a video
Yeah.
or a recording of some kind, or like even like a story share. Like how many of
Mm-hmm.
y'all go through a ton of results and you're like delivering left and right, but you just never captured that story?
Yeah.
What do you recommend we do in scenarios like that? Is that popular? Does that happen often or?
Yeah, oh, for sure. And you don't, if you don't have any video, I'm showing multiple options here of what you could do. So the second case study is a videoless one. It's just something you helped with. Could be your mom, for all I care. You helped her get in shape. You can talk about her there, her here in this email, and you never have to get her on a YouTube video, right? So here's an example. When I met Name, she had gotten started on Path, but was running into problem consistently. Without proper guidance, she had followed the same mistakes I see almost everywhere in this industry. We recently caught up, and I learned that she had achieved this result in just this much time. Here are the 3 steps she had that said that got her there. And we talk about those steps because that's powerful, show the insight of how the transformation happened. And then we say the exciting part about this story is that it's repeatable. The system I teach inside of community name helps people just like this client and you achieve that result. There are this many spots opening on this day. I make it super easy to get started at just this amount. You in? If so, reply this to this email and I'll send you all the info.
Got it. And those parentheses things you have in there, are those like
Yeah.
placeholders or are those actual custom values or things?
These ones are placeholders. Yeah,
Okay,
I
got
could
it.
have made 100 custom values,
I was
but
about to say, I was
uh,
like, dang.
much easier for everybody to come through here because the languaging probably wouldn't line up, and you'll want to likely modify this anyway. That's a word to the
Right.
wise. Any snapshot you download, make sure you look at every single email and text that's getting sent out because the last thing you want is your name on something that doesn't make sense for your niche or your industry. So it's good to go review these as a standard practice, and this is just meant to make it really easy to write these emails.
Got it. Okay, let's keep going.
Great. So then the next day, here's an example of opening the doors. Hey, this many spots are open for this community. This offer specifically for you if you wanted this outcome. How does it work? We answer some questions about how it works, explain those parts, and this will come from your easy yes offer exercise we talked about before. And again, the investment is just this much. It means by signing one extra client or just doing one thing, it'll easily pay for itself. Here's how to claim your spot, and then say reply back this. And again, that's going to trigger that thing with the payment link that I talked about before, right?
Got it. And then
Um,
opportunity cost.
yeah. So this one's just an example of like, hey, if you're not making a million a year now, it's actually costing you a million a year not to know how. Come up with something similar in your niche. If you're not doing this, it's costing you this. And then we just talk about why that matters and how we can help you, achieve the result that you're looking for. Same thing, reply back. I'll send you the info. And then lastly, we could close the doors. I definitely recommend keeping it open longer for one day, longer than one day. I'm just giving an example of, hyping it up, opening it, and then this would be the closing email, but you'd have a couple other emails in here, which by the way, if you want to do that, you just come here after the wait step, go ahead and hit email. And there you go. You can create the email into whatever you want it to be. Or you could come in here and just copy this specific action, copy it right here, and boom, you can come edit this specific email, right? So I'll delete that one. So lastly, the doors would close. We'd say, hey, this is the last day to join this community. There's only this many spots out of the original amount left. You've seen the results that are possible. I've described how the program works, starting out with a one-on-one call with me to get crystal clear on what to do in your first 3 months. And that's all. And all that's left is to decide. To save you time finding another email, the full details on the program are below. And then we'd insert those full details. So Paulson, what makes this so powerful, and I think what a lot of maybe beginner marketers struggle with is I want to launch this, but I don't know how to get people to say yes now. And that's where the urgency and scarcity, like those are your best two friends as a marketer. And we don't have to make them fake. We can make them real urgency and real scarcity because we say, hey, there's only 5 spots. We're closing on Friday. If you want to join, you need to make a decision now.
Yeah.
And that way, and if you're like, oh, 5 spots sounds like a lot, I don't think I'd be able to fill 5, go for 2, go for 1. But saying, hey, here's the time limit, this is how many I'm taking, will drastically increase the results you get because otherwise people can make a decision whenever they want. And there's only so many people that are so in pain that they want to make the decision today. So you've got to give them a reason to do it, which is that urgency and scarcity.
Yeah. I've launched courses myself a couple of times, even before high level, at high level, and even now we're always building new courses. So like we have the 5-day challenge that, JB is going to be doing. We have a couple of other programs like the workshops and the spotlight session. All these different things have a beta launch.
Mm.
And I want to invite everyone in case if you have never launched a program before, I want you to all launch a beta group of people where you're making an announcement. Hey guys and gals, I'm going to share the knowledge that I have in an educational type of experience with the community behind it for a lower number price, whatever that is, instead of maybe doing $200 a week, maybe do $50 a week for the first 5 people or the first 10 people. And during that beta run is where you get the most significant amount of knowledge and feedback from your customers. And that's where you can ask them, hey, is it okay if I use your testimonials and can you sign a waiver? Can I, share your details of your business and how we formed you into XYZ or whatever that is? That's going to be the key standard that you set to launch. Like that's the launch in general. And you can simply run a bunch of marketing for this beta and decline a bunch of people. It's totally fine to decline as many people as you want on a beta because guess what? Those are people that you can go back to market with the discounted rate for your first round,
Yeah.
right? So don't be afraid to decline a bunch of people because what's important is to launch a beta, generate results, generate that transformation, then go back to the market with what Keaton is describing.
Yeah.
Is that what you did as well? Did you have a beta of some kind?
Uh, I I was fairly established. I knew I could fill the spots, and so my beta was
Gotcha.
kind of the normal launch. But
Yeah,
this launch sequence is designed to be the beta, right? Test it out. If you don't fill any spots, like originally I launched at a little higher price, and I just felt like, you know what, if I want to fill these consistently, I should probably
yeah,
drop it. So I dropped the
yeah.
price, and I just went out instead of saying, hey, this is the beta. I just mentally was saying this is the beta and tested the price with real world data,
Got it.
got that, and then readjusted.
Okay.
And I want to say, following up to what you said, Paulson, because it's so important. Coaches, as I mentioned, can feel like you're a commodity. And when you limit the access to yourself or your beta program or whatever it is, you immediately become more desired because you don't work with unlimited people. So if you want to get out of the loop of I'm always following up with them, they're not saying yes, I feel like I'm being needy to my clients, and where really you want to be the one that's in demand, the easiest path to doing that is just limiting your intakes. Just say, I only take this many people. I want everybody to have a perfect experience or near perfect experience. And so that's what I do.
Yeah, fair point because the brand positioning and the offer positioning matters
Mm-hmm.
more than just like launching it mass market, and then you're just like, oh yeah, I've got his $67 course, just like
Yeah.
everybody else, that just
Yeah.
ruins the
And
whole brand.
like it sounds to any of you who've heard a launch that's like, oh, I did 100,000 my first month. And like, it's really easy to get FOMO and feel like you're the only coach that can't figure it out. Right. And what you have to realize is if someone did 100,000 their first month, they're stuck fulfilling $100,000 worth of coaching until they can free up their time again to go get more. Right. And unless it's just straight course, no support, no help, there is something you need to do. And so I encourage everybody here to take a slow and steady approach so that you're not pulling your hair out with $100,000 worth of fulfillment and instead just taking on enough people at a time to really give them that perfect experience.
I love that. So what else is there for day one that we need to cover?
That was it.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Let's do a Q&A if you have time or no.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a hard stop at 2 Eastern, but other than that, I'm good.
Okay, cool. So that means we have got about 10 minutes for Q&A. So let's do this. Type in the word question or the letter Q and type down your question. And what I'm going to do is rapid fire with Keaton so we can go as fast as we can. Um, and we have 2 more days. This is day one. Tomorrow we have day three as well. So let's go ahead and go through this real quick. Um, Gary's asking, is the weekly billing automated slash subscription or invoiced to give them the option of multiple payments? So I guess the question is, are you automating the subscription on HighLevel, or is it like a payment option you're giving them with multiple
Automated
payments?
every time. Yeah. So there's a checkout page in the snapshot. Um, I'll just show you the live page because the one in the snapshot won't actually pull up because it doesn't have the payment or the products in there right now.
Okay.
But this is how it works for mine. That I just send. They say I'm in. I want to join, and I just send them this link, and then they have the option to pay for weekly pricing, and that's automated, or they can pay yearly. Nobody's taken me up on this so far, but you realize, okay, I'm saving this much a year or whatever when you set it up that way.
Got it. Next question. Nancy says, "Hey, I don't understand the affiliate level. Can you share some notes on the affiliate side real quick?
Yeah.
Like, is that for your affiliate coaching program, or do you mean like your high level affiliation?"
Yeah. So when people come to my website, and they go to coaching, there's three options. They can work with me privately, they can join the guild, or they can become an affiliate. And the affiliates, this is my only thing that's not capped. It's like anybody can join this, right? So when they click on this page, I say, get free access to my affiliate community plus this amount in bonuses. And I've teamed up with the below softwares to make getting the support you need to grow with HighLevel free. So monthly group coaching, ask and get answers to your support questions, get my best snapshots, get my HighLevel courses. And then when they come through here, they can select which one they want to sign up with. And then
Yep.
once they sign up with that, we verify it and add them to the community.
Got it. Next question. Let's see. Tiffany's asking, how did you gather your potential leads in the beginning?
Yeah. So if you the first thing I actually did was appear on a podcast. And that podcast happened to get a lot of views and a lot of people came to me. That was like 4 years ago. And from that, I understood the power of like long form conversation based content. And I started making my own YouTube videos. And so that's where most of my leads come from today. But you don't actually need that big of an audience to launch something like this, especially if you limit the spots. So, um, but the main way that any coach I would recommend to any coach or agency nowadays to get clients is post the content that's going to call out the ideal person on whatever platform that you understand the best. So if you're good at Instagram, do Instagram. If you're good at LinkedIn, do LinkedIn, and just post the stuff that's going to attract the people who want to go on the transformation journey with you.
Love it. Alejandra's asking, how do you deal with people who want refunds? Do you get bogged down with that type of support?
No. Again, the guild is limited to 100 people, and everybody comes in, has an onboarding call with me, and comes to calls, at least monthly with me. And so these are people that I have a relationship with. I'm not going to get bogged down with, like if if they ask for a refund, I don't offer them, and I make it clear up front. And it's not like there's tons of those coming through anyway, or at all. But let's say I did get a bunch of requests. These are people that I know personally. We can talk through the situation with them and
Yeah.
say, hey, I made a massive mistake, or I didn't, let's talk through this type thing.
Well, I think that's also the beauty of this model, the hybrid model, right? You
Mm.
have the ability to filter out the traffic that comes
Yeah.
in, so then you can decide whether you even want to work with them, whether they give you money or not.
Yeah, exactly. And there's, yes, like so, someone might sign up. They're like, I'm ready to go. They get on, you realize they're way too beginner. You're sure they're going to churn anyway. Do their onboarding call for free and just say, hey, I'll refund this payment. This is going to be a better solution for you.
Love that.
But you
Yeah.
you get a lot less of those because you require the payment before the call.
I love that. Okay, Steve's asking, how can we incorporate these tools and tips, techniques into white label version of high level? So do you need a white label high level for building a course or anything, or like what are your thoughts?
No, you can use HighLevel directly to do that. But the example that I showed earlier would be my favorite way of doing this. So this one here. So we have a hybrid coaching offer at the beginning to help people with whatever transformation you help with. And then you say, here's the SaaS to manage your whole business on.
Got
And,
it.
and you can sell the sub accounts that way for an additional amount.
Love it. Okay, so Keaton, what are we gonna learn tomorrow, man? This is quite
Yeah.
interesting. This is a lot we covered. We got into the platform a little bit, did a demo, we went through a couple
Mhm.
of ideas, and we layered out the business model. So what's gonna happen tomorrow for day two?
Yeah. So day two is going to be a little bit more tech heavy. But before
Okay.
we get into the tech, we're talking about branding and marketing foundations. So what I see a lot of coaches struggle with is they're attracting people that can't afford them. They're attracting people that want to change, say they want to change, but don't actually want to change. And we're going to talk about how to fix that problem with the right kind of marketing.
Okay.
Really, honestly, like really super excited about that because it's something I'm very passionate about. And then we're going to show you how easy it is to set up a course and how easy it is to set up a community inside of HighLevel so that you can that go to market plan that we just did. Once you get your first sale, you've got a community and a course to add them to.
Awesome. And those of you that had questions around the offer itself, we just posted the offer link. So it is gohighlevel.com/ Keaton Walker offer. And Keaton, if they sign up for that trial, what do they get? How long is the trial? What comes with it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to share that link. I don't know if you have it on your slides or anything, but it looks
Uh,
like Jordan and Ethan might have posted in the chat already in the comments. So that's there. But what does it include?
yeah. So you're going to get two things really. The first one is what high levels saying here, this Keaton Walker offer page. You're going to get the snapshot with everything we went over today. So all of these, um, like a ton of automations that work with the hybrid model or the course model or the guru model. So there's tons of stuff. We'll go over more of them tomorrow. And then you're going to get these 10 plus website templates and the video that shows you how to put all of this together, right? So that's here. But in addition to that, for all my affiliates, I have what I just mentioned here, which is monthly group calls with myself. So actually, the one for this week is happening on Wednesday, or for this month. You get access to my team that's complete experts in high level, so they can answer any questions you have about getting set up. And you get my other snapshots. So I have a SaaS website, I have a agency website, and agency sales snapshot, as well as getting your clients results if you're a marketing agency. And then I also have foundational courses on high level. So how to get clients and how to actually understand the software in and of itself. So if you upgrade or sign up with that offer that you see today, not only do you get the snapshot, but you get ongoing support with all those things I mentioned.
I love it. And you get a 30-day trial as well, not just a
Yes.
14-day trial. So we'll see you tomorrow, everybody, for day two. That is going to be starting at 12 o'clock EST. That's New York time. For those of you that are international, I'm looking forward to it. And again, tomorrow is going to be quite tech heavy from what Keaton has described, but it's going to be some really, really cool things that we're going to go over and map out as far as automations are concerned and the whole digital side of the coaching business.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, Keaton, as we close out day one?
Yeah, just as we're getting ready for tomorrow, if you make your account, you get everything set up today, then you'll be able to walk through step by step and have a community on a course that's ready to go, at least the skeleton of the course that's built out. And you'll understand, you can even, like, we're going to go over, somebody DMs me on a certain platform. How do I send them an automated message? That kind of other automations in there. So if you get your account set up today, then tomorrow is going to be much more useful for you. And if for some reason the tech isn't interesting to you, for sure still show up tomorrow, because the marketing foundations that we're going to talk about are, it's honestly, this is probably the most important part that I'll share all week. So definitely show up.
Love it. And those of you that are already on the highest high level plan, stay put. We'll provide the resources over to you, but just give us a few days. But either way, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Take care.
Thanks, Keaton.
Bye.